Chapter 409, Fire Execution. I know, someone said calmly. Mad Lady is probably a traveler. I have no idea where she lives. Ultraman used to be a Sequence 6 notary of the Sun Pathway. I'm not sure anymore. He hasn't been to Trier recently, and I haven't left the asylum. We only exchange a few words at each gathering. Loki is a Sequence 5 Mariontist of the Seer Pathway, but I suspect he wields more power from celestial worthy than us. He can access resources unknown to us. He even owns a mysterious ancient castle, Dylan, hidden somewhere. Bard is a Sequence 6 Prometheus of the Marauder Pathway. Of course, I'm unsure of his current situation. We haven't seen each other in reality for a long time. He did write Emperor Rosel's Secret Chronicles and published it under someone else's name. I'm not familiar with Hisoka. He hasn't attended any real-life gatherings in the northern continent. In my opinion, he's very dangerous, second only to Loki. He's similar to Mad Lady. If I hadn't gone crazy for a while, I would be a Sequence 5 by now. Castle Dylan, Lumion recalled Madame Hela's description of Loki's dream and suspected that the mysterious ancient castle hidden somewhere was where Loki had been resurrected. He hadn't expected Bard to be a beyonder of the Marauder Pathway. He believed that the nickname originated from the ocean songster of the Sailor Pathway or the midnight poet of the Evernight Pathway, but on second thought, it made sense. In rural stories, bards often moonlighted as thieves. This also confirmed the celestial worthy of heaven and earth for Blessings' influence on the Seer, Apprentice, and Marauder pathways. Half of the 6 core members belong to these 3 pathways. After I know someone finished speaking, Franca asked with concern, "Who else in the research society is involved with this?" I know someone couldn't resist keeping it a secret. He replied calmly, "I know Pettigrew is one." Pettigrew? Franca blurted out in surprise. I thought he was making fun of his height with that nickname, but it turns out he's mocking his identity. I know someone nodded gently. Before finding the organization and joining the research society, he already knew Loki. As you all know, Loki can use the celestial worthy's power to sense transmigrators within a certain range, and Pettigrew is also in the Trier Greater region. He first became Loki's subordinate before joining the research society. He was assigned to another team. He actually nicknamed himself Pettigrew because he wanted to play a prank and reveal the truth. He mocked and fooled all the research society members who lacked insight, but in reality, I knew he was hesitating, feeling guilty, and struggling. He hoped to use this method to warn the other research society members that there was something wrong with him. My plan was to find an opportunity to tell him that Muggle, who never discriminated against his height and was gentle and amiable to him, was harmed by us. He could be considered an indirect helper. When the time comes, his devastation and pained expression would have been very interesting. Damn it, Franca cursed. Although I know someone had been lobotomized, and he had become very calm, his tone no longer mocking. His straightforward thoughts were still filled with vileness, making Franca unable to control her emotions. What else? Lumion asked on her behalf. I know someone recited 5 more aliases in a row before concluding. These are the few I know. As for the ones Loki and the others secretly developed or didn't tell me, I'm not sure. There's quite a few. Franca was filled with hatred and frustration. Lumion turned to her and said, "Just share this information with Madame Hela. How they handle it is up to the president and vice presidents. You don't need to be troubled or hesitant. Just enjoy the fruits of your labor. Isn't there a saying back at Auror, your home? If you don't witness the lamb being killed and don't cook it yourself, you can enjoy the delicious mutton without it weighing on you. Otherwise, it's inevitable that you'll be benevolent, soft-hearted, and conflicted." Franca exhaled and muttered, "Your sister's adaptation of famous quotes is ridiculous." She gathered her composure and looked at I know someone. "Did you spread news of the impending apocalypse because you believed in the celestial worthy and rushed to pursue joy, allowing you to commit all sorts of evil deeds without feeling guilty? Or did you become desperate and believe in the celestial worthy because you were certain that the apocalypse was about to arrive and humans couldn't resist?" I know someone replied, "Both. Some tried to replicate their pre-transmigration actions and immediately gained the celestial worthy's attention, while others faced catastrophes and learned about the apocalypse. They only believed in the celestial worthy after their mental breakdown. At this point, I know someone's empty eye sockets turned to Franca, who had just asked the question. Later, the celestial worthy even gave us some revelations, allowing us to guess a portion of the truth, including. For some inexplicable reason, Lumion suddenly felt a strong sense of danger and interrupted I know someone's statement. You don't have to continue. I know someone immediately closed his mouth. Why can't he say it? Franca eagerly awaited the answer, but there was no response. Lumion recalled concepts like the barrier, related to the apocalypse, and said seriously, "It's not suitable for you to know the truth about the apocalypse yet. That knowledge might cause you to lose control or be fatally corrupted on the spot. You can inquire about it when you become a demigod." All right, Franca glanced at Lumion and muttered, "Why do you act like you know the truth? Why can he do it but I can't?" "I only know a little," Lumion replied candidly. "And that knowledge brought me danger. It's all thanks to Mr. Fool's seal." As the effects of the truth serum wore off, I know someone returned to his usual unchanging calm. Even his willingness to answer questions had vanished. Franca gazed at the lobotomized psychiatrist for a few seconds before sighing. Sometimes we're still too naive. We might even think of ourselves as the protagonist. Lumion knew that. We referred to the members of the Curly-Haired Baboons Research Society. Franca averted her gaze and turned to Lumion. While the sheep was undergoing the operation, I searched both I know someone's and his substitute's wards. I found some papers at the latter's place. I didn't read the content carefully, but it felt a little esoteric. As she spoke, she rose and returned to her room, retrieving a thin stack of papers. Lumion flipped through them and frowned. Midoro's worship. What's this? Franca hadn't heard the first half of the interrogation. Lumion explained briefly and concluded, "This should be a spell that allows one to traverse the formless door and closely align with an evil god, gaining knowledge and experience. Even ordinary people should be able to learn it after receiving proper guidance." Franca sighed from the bottom of her heart and said, "No wonder it sounds so sinister. The layers of the heavenly domains, the formless door, the extraordinary phenomena, and the fringes of immortality. It sounds very dangerous." Lumion put away the secret deed spell, Midoro's worship. Although he didn't know how to use it, nor did he need to, he could still grasp the corresponding knowledge. This would help him deal with the heretics who relied on Midoro's worship to obtain knowledge and strength. He then said to Franca, "Relay this information to Madame Hella. I'll handle I know someone." "All right." Franca nodded gently and watched as Lumion put on the lie earring and walked to the armchair. He grabbed the calm man's shoulder and instantly vanished. Prison District, Roy's comprehensive execution ground. It was not yet 7 a.m., and there was no one here. It was wet, as if isolated from the world. Lumion emerged from the void with I know someone and tied the April Fool's Corps member to the stake. Then he retreated a long distance, crouched down, and pressed his hands to the ground. Two crimson tongues of fire swiftly darted towards I know someone's body along the weed-covered ground. They grew larger and larger until they transformed into a giant serpent, engulfing I know someone completely. Lumion stood up and used his feet to maintain the flow of flames. He silently watched as the calm psychiatrist revealed grayish-white dragon scales under the stress. His body subconsciously struggled, but it wasn't as intense. His various Beyonder powers scattered in all directions, but they failed to affect Lumion, who stood beyond their range. Lumion condensed a dangerous flaming spear and hurled it, piercing and burning a hole around I know someone's chest and abdomen. The crimson flames that hadn't incinerated the dragon scales elsewhere surged into I know someone's body. As Lumion watched the April Fool's Corps member truly begin to burn, his body instinctively emitting pained cries, his thoughts raced. He quickly recalled the battle last night and today's interrogation. He had learned a lot from this, but he couldn't quite grasp the acting principle. Flames aren't just lethal. They can also be used as deterrence, intimidation, and a signal. It is necessary for pyromaniacs to combine their flames with traps. As the raging flames engulfed I know someone, Lumion felt as if a fire was burning in his heart. It was anger, satisfaction, and catharsis. At that moment, Lumien's pyromaniac potion digested a little more, just as it had after the battle the previous night. After an unknown period of time, in the uninhabited execution ground, I know someone ceased his struggles and lost his breath. His body was charred as it cracked apart.